Dear friends, welcome to a new video. In this video, we will discuss the difference between distance and the displacement of any body or of any object. So first of all, the definition of distance and the definition of displacement. So look at this. This is the definition. Distance is a total length of the path covered by any body, and displacement is the shortest or the straight line distance measured from initial position to the final position of any body or of any object. Now let's explain it with the help of the example. So come to the example number 1. And now look at this diagram. This is the path covered by any body or any object. Or in other means, suppose there is any body or any object and it start the journey from the point A. Point A is the starting position or the initial position, and the body moves along this path and cover the distance of 1 meter. Then it moves along this way, this path, once again cover the distance of 1 meter. Then it moves down and travel along this path and cover the distance of 2 meter, and hence finally moves along this path, cover the distance of 2 meter and end the journey at the point B. B is the final position. Now let's calculate the distance and then the distance displacement. So first, for the distance, we imagine this definition, the total length of the path covered. Now how much is the total length of this path covered in this example? So 1 meter plus 1 meter, 2 meter, plus from here to here 2 meter, and this 2 meter from here to the final position. Hence 1, 1, 2, 4 and 2, 6. Hence the length of the path covered is 6 meter, and which is according to the definition, this total length is called distance covered by the body. So the distance covered is 1, this one, 1, this one, 2, this 2, and 2, this 2. Hence 6 meter is the total length of the path covered or the distance covered by the body. Now for the displacement, we apply or we use this definition, the straight line or the shortest distance from initial to the final position. So this is the starting position or the initial position. This is the end of the journey or the final position. And the shortest distance from A to B is this way, this path, and which is equal to 1 meter distance and 2 meter. Hence the total length of this straight line or the shortest distance is 3 meter. Hence the displacement in this case is 1, this 1 meter, and 2, this 2 meter. The displacement is 3 meter from here to here along this line. Now come to the example number 2. In this example, anybody start the journey from the point A. It is the starting position or the initial position, and travels or moves along this path from here to here and cover the distance of 1 meter. Now it moves downward and cover the distance of 2 meter. Now from here to here it covered the distance of 3 meter, and finally it moves upward and cover the distance of 2 meter at this point. And now from this point to this point, B is the final or ending point, cover the further distance of 1 meter. Now for the distance covered, we apply this definition, the total length. So what is the total length in this case? 1 meter, 2 meter, 3 meter, 2 meter and 1 meter. Hence the length of the path covered is 1, 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6 plus 2, 8 plus 1, 9 meter. This one, 1 meter, this 2, 2 meter, this 3, 3 meter, this 2 meter, and this 1 meter. Hence, 9 meter is the total length of the path covered, which is according to the definition, which is the called distance. DIST means distance. Now let's calculate the displacement. DISP means displacement. So for the displacement, we apply the shortest distance. So the shortest distance is from here to there along this way or this path. So what is the distance from this point, these 2 points? The distance from here to here is 3 meter. Hence, the shortest or the straight line distance from A to B is 1 meter plus 3 meter and plus 1 meter. The total shortest distance or the straight line distance from A to B is 5 meter. This 5 meter is the shortest distance, and it is the displacement in this example. Hopefully it will be clear to you. Now let's move on to the example number 3. Now this is the example number 3, and it is the path traveled by any body or any object. Now suppose that any body or any object start the journey from the point X, travel 12 meter distance from X to Y, and then further travel this 13 meter distance from Y to the point Z, and then from Z to X 15 meter, and come back to the starting point X. It means this body or this object moves or travels along this way, and come back to the starting or initial position again. Now let's once again consider how much is the distance covered in this example and how much is the displacement of the body. So for the distance covered, apply or remember the definition of distance, and that is defined as the distance covered is actually the length of the path covered. So length of the path covered is 12 meter here, then 13 meter, and then 15 meter. Hence 12, this 12 meter, 13, this 13 meter, and 15, this 15 meter. The total length of the path covered is 40 meter. The body goes or travels along from X to Y, from Y to Z, and from Z to X, come back at the initial position. Again, the initial position and the final position both are same or at the same place. Now let's define or calculate the displacement. So for the displacement, just remember the definition of displacement, which is defined as the shortest or the straight line distance measured from initial to the final position. So when we measure the distance from initial and the final position, then we see that the initial and the final position are same, at the same point, at the same distance. It means there is no distance from initial or from final or between initial or between final. Both position, initial and final position, are same at like that. So it means displacement is 0 in this case, and whenever, or it may be any case, when the initial and the final positions are at the same position or at the same place, then the displacement is also always 0. Now let's come back the example number 4. It is the same or the similar example. In this example, any object or body start the journey from the point A, travels in this direction along this path, and cover or travel the 8 meter distance. Now come down by the 4 meter distance and return along this path and cover the distance of 8 meter to the point B, and hence the journey is ended. It is the initial position, A is the initial position and B is the final position. So for the distance, just imagine what is the definition of distance. So the definition, according to the definition of distance, distance covered is defined as the length, total length of the path covered. So the total length, this is the path covered. And the total length of the path covered is 8 plus 4 plus 8. 8, this 8, 4, this 4, and 8, this 8. Hence, the total comes around 20 meter. This 20 meter is the length of the path covered, and the length of the path covered is the said to be, according to the definition, distance or distance covered. So the distance is 20 meter. Now for the displacement, we apply the definition of displacement. According to the definition, it is said that the shortest or the straight line distance from initial to the final position. So it is the initial position, it is the final position. Now we find the shortest or straight line distance from initial to the final position. So this is the shortest or the straight line distance from initial to the final position, and this distance is 4 meter. So the shortest or straight line distance between the initial and the final position, or the from the initial to the final position, is 4 meter. Hence the displacement is 4 meter. So this was the definition and the explanation was distance and the displacement, and it is the difference between the distance and the displacement, and hopefully you will find it helpful in understanding this topic when you will open the books. Thanks for watching it, and keep subscribing this channel and press the bell icon.